I was married for 7 years to a man I believed was my soulmate. We'd met in college, clicked instantly, and despite the normal ups and downs, I always felt emotionally secure in our relationship. We were each other's person, or so I thought. Around the 6th year of our marriage, something in him changed. He became distant, not cold, but unreachable. He still did the little things, made coffee in the morning, sent good-night texts when he traveled for work. But emotionally, he was like a locked room I couldn't get into anymore. I tried to talk about it. He brushed it off as stress from work. I convinced myself he was just overwhelmed. I wanted to believe that love like ours didn't just fade away. One evening, while he was working late, I went to drop off dinner at his office, a small gesture, a way to bridge the growing gap between us, but when I got there, his car wasn't in the lot. I called, no answer. Texted, nothing. The seed of suspicion was planted. A week later, I decided to follow my instincts. He had mentioned going over to his colleague Maya's house to review a proposal for an upcoming client pitch. Something in his tone had felt off. I drove there, parked down the block, and waited. The lights were on. I could see shadows moving, and then I saw it. My husband and Maya standing by her living room window. They kissed slowly like it wasn't new, but that's not what gutted me. It was the figure I saw standing behind the bushes across from the house. Maya's husband, Eric. I had met him once, quiet, kind eyes. He was watching too. I recognized the expression on his face. It mirrored mine. Betrayal, disbelief, the sting of being someone's fool. We locked eyes for a second. Neither of us said a word. What could we say? I drove away shaking, not just from heartbreak, but from the sick realization that my husband's affair wasn't just a betrayal. It was a performance, one that had 2 unwilling audience members watching through the window. The fallout was messy. Confrontations, denials, eventual admissions. The marriage didn't survive, neither did Maya's, but what lingered wasn't just the cheating. It was how emotional attachment makes betrayal feel like identity theft. You give someone your heart, and they rewrite the story without telling you. And sometimes the truth doesn't come from a confession. It comes from being at the wrong place at the exact right time, looking through the wrong window, and seeing everything you wished wasn't true. Emotional attachment is one of the most powerful forces in a relationship. It binds people together through shared experiences, vulnerability, and trust. In many long-term relationships, especially marriages, emotional intimacy can often feel even more significant than physical connection. It becomes a quiet contract between 2 people, one that says, "You are my safe place." When this emotional bond is broken by infidelity, the damage cuts much deeper than physical betrayal. The emotional closeness that once felt like a shield becomes a double-edged sword, turning love into a tool of devastation. What makes this kind of betrayal particularly painful is not just the act itself, but the unraveling of everything that was emotionally sacred. You don't just lose your partner, you lose the version of yourself that existed in the safety of their love. For people who are emotionally invested, infidelity doesn't arrive as just a shock, it arrives as a violation of the very foundation on which their emotional world was built. Often, the partner who is cheated on doesn't notice the signs right away, not because they are naive, but because their emotional bond creates a filter that blurs out red flags. They believe in their partner, trust in the consistency of their love, and give them the benefit of the doubt. That trust becomes a blind spot, not due to weakness, but due to the strength of the emotional commitment. The mind finds it hard to hold 2 opposing truths, that someone you love and trust deeply could also be deceiving you behind closed doors. The challenges that arise when emotional attachment is broken by infidelity are not limited to sadness or anger. There is often a deep internal conflict where the betrayed partner begins to question everything. They start rewinding memories, looking for the moment things changed, wondering if they ever really knew their partner at all. Emotional infidelity, when a partner connects with someone else on a deep, non-physical level, can feel just as painful, sometimes more, than physical affairs. This is especially true when the cheating partner shares intimate conversations, vulnerabilities, or dreams with someone else, things that used to belong exclusively within the relationship. The betrayed partner feels emotionally displaced, replaced in a role they thought was irreplaceable. One of the most haunting parts of emotionally driven infidelity is the slow erosion of trust. In some cases, the cheating partner might still be present, physically and even routinely loving, but emotionally they've gone somewhere else. The absence is subtle, like a ghost moving through the house, barely visible but always felt. This creates a silent panic in the partner who feels the shift. They can sense the emotional distance, but without concrete proof, they often blame themselves. They ask if they've become less interesting, less desirable, or too demanding. Emotional attachment becomes a painful trap when it leads one to protect and preserve the relationship at all costs, even when it's falling apart beneath the surface. When the betrayal finally surfaces, whether through confession, discovery, or an unplanned revelation, it doesn't just break the relationship, it fractures the betrayed person's self-concept. For someone who is emotionally invested, finding out their love wasn't reciprocated in the way they believed is more than a heartbreak. It's a loss of identity. They question their judgment, their worth, and even their reality. How could they have missed the signs? How could someone who shared their bed, their laughter, their fears, turn around and build emotional intimacy with someone else? This self-questioning adds another layer of suffering. The emotional betrayal plants seeds of doubt that often linger long after the relationship ends, affecting how the betrayed partner views future connections. Another layer of complexity is the emotional aftermath between both partners. Sometimes, the cheating partner may claim that the affair was a result of emotional neglect, even if that perception was never communicated before. This justification doesn't lessen the hurt, it often makes it worse. It suggests that one partner's failure to meet emotional needs became a reason to violate trust, instead of an opportunity to have an honest conversation. Emotional infidelity reveals how poor communication, unmet expectations, and unspoken feelings can fester quietly until they explode into acts that leave lasting damage. Emotional attachment is what most relationships strive to build. But when it becomes the very thing that's exploited or betrayed, the consequences are profound. It forces people to rebuild themselves from the inside out, to relearn trust, to redefine boundaries, and to understand that even the strongest bonds can be broken. The betrayal of emotional trust isn't just a personal offense. It's a deep psychological wound that can take years to fully understand, let alone heal.